This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back into Live Bet Sunday as we have reached the home stretch of this show, third hour. Ready, set, go. I'm Grace Remington with Will Hill here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Will, we've covered a lot today, and I know you are keyed in on this NBA game, so I have a few final results to get to, but first want to get your thoughts as the Thunder and Nuggets come down to the wire here.
Yeah, 84-80 right now with the OKC Thunder in the lead after trailing by 7 early fourth quarter, late third quarter. I'm not sure what the review is here. Something is under review as OKC is challenging. Either way, it's going to be a 4-point lead for OKC with 3:15 to go. It looked like Jokic was either out of bounds or not out of bounds, and they gave the ball to Denver, and that's what OKC is challenging. So we'll see here. If you bet Denver plus the 6.5 plus the 7, and you're up 6 or 7 or whatever pretty late in this game, felt like you had an easy winner, but sometimes there are no easy winners in the NBA. As OKC not only threatening to cover this game, which obviously there's still time left, but also can possibly cover here, which would be a pretty tough beat if you had Denver. So Jokic is now going to the line at 84-80 to shoot free throws. I guess he was shoved as he's going out of bounds. It's tough without doing the show without the sound on, just trying to guess here what the calls are, what the discrepancy is. Jokic, by the way, 25 points, 12 rebounds, but only 6 of 19 from the floor. This is coming after a game Friday night as he misses the first free throw where he shot terribly. So he has not shot well in this series and really in these playoffs. So a huge missed opportunity there for Jokic as he misses the first free throw at 84-80, and he also misses the second. Oh, my goodness. So instead of being down 2, OKC now up 4 with the ball here. 2 huge missed free throws there for Nikola Jokic.
OKC leading 86-80, still a live 3.5-point favorite, but juiced minus 125 to cover, and that live total still low, 183.5, although if this goes to overtime, could be a good spot to bet the over there. Less than 3 minutes to go in that game. I do want to get the Truist Championship results in here because we now have a final result. Sepp Straka wins it at 16 under par. Turns out Justin Thomas gets a share for the second place finish with Shane Lowry because Lowry on his par putt on the 18th hole, Will saw me react live. It was brutal, and he looked like he was going to be in tears after that. The ball lips around the cup, and he has to tap in for bogey. So he lost a chance at a playoff there. Still a great tournament for Shane Lowry, but for Sepp Straka, finishes today with a solid score of 68. Yesterday, he fired a 66 to get to the top of the leaderboard. It's his 4th PGA Tour title ever, his 2nd win this year. He had won the American Express earlier this year, and he's actually only the 2nd player in 2025 to have 2 or more wins on tour, Rory McIlroy being the other one. So a great putting performance from Straka gets him the win. Pre-tournament, if you placed a wager on him to win outright, you would have gotten 40-1 odds. After round 2, he was 6-1. And then entering round 3, I believe he's plus 330. Today it was likely much shorter. But congrats to Sepp Straka. Also, wanted to share a cute moment from the broadcast. He and Shane Lowry were playing partners today, and they were talking as they were walking down the fairway, which surprised me because Straka is kind of stressed out when he's in final pairings, whereas Lowry is so chill. So I thought that was cool to see Straka so relaxed in that moment. But the cameras caught their conversation, and they were talking about their plans for Mother's Day, and they both bought their mama's flowers. So good on you, boys. But that wraps a fun Truist Championship at the Philly Cricket Club. Learned a lot about that course. Don't know if we'll see it again, but it was an exciting tournament. Update on this hockey game, Game 4 between the Jets and the Stars. We are tied up at 2-2 with less than 6 minutes to go in the second period. Goal scorers in this game, Hintz for Dallas was the first score of the game. Mikko Rantanen, your Conn Smythe favorite, was the assist on there. Kyle Connor tied it up for the Jets in the first, and then Thomas Harley gave Dallas a 2-1 lead after the first. In the second period, Nino Niederreiter is the one who ties it up for the Jets. So let's get back to the NBA here because we're about a $1:30 to go. OKC leads 88-83. Anything you would want to place live, Will, when there's so little time left?
Let's see. So I would probably look. 179.5 is still available. Now we're down to 177.5. Let's see. So we need 7 more points. They're in the foul zone, so if anything, I'd play the over. OKC is in the bonus. I know I like the over at 194.5 earlier, and these teams just haven't been able to make a shot. But it seems like OKC is in very good shape here to win a game after being down, 6 or 7 in the late in this ball game to respond and take a commanding lead. Denver's missed a ton of free throws. Jokic missed 2, and right after that, Gordon went to the line and he split them. So Denver's left a lot of points on the board here. So 88-83 in Denver, and OKC's got the ball here in the final seconds. 40-something seconds left. Denver's not fouling, which I think is interesting. They're going to play this out, just try to get a rebound, a stop, a score, and then go from there, which I guess is the right strategy, because if you start fouling, then you just can't make up the points as OKC does turn it over. Denver ball down 5, 28 seconds left. So you still need a miracle. I mean, we've seen it with the Pacers and their miraculous comebacks, but down 5 with 28 seconds left. It's more, what's more in doubt here is the cover. And this closed anywhere between 6.5 and 7. Denver's chances to win this game, barring a complete meltdown by OKC in terms of like missed free throws or turnovers, are very slim at this point.
Yeah, this has been an interesting one to follow live. I think we expected some positive shooting regression from the Thunder after Game 3, considering they were one of the best three-point shooting teams in the regular season, averaging just under 38% as a team, but they went 9 for 35 from deep in Game 3. Today, geez, they went 10 for 41. Denver went 10 for 42 from deep. So, I mean, really did not see that positive regression. Although I would think this is the type of game, if the Thunder want to win this series, or if they are, of course they want to, they're not going to blow out OKC. They want the game to be within 5 points in the final 5 minutes. They want to win it in clutch time with their experience and the defense getting them the win. So they kind of played the game they were supposed to, I thought. But I guess sometimes, just doesn't go your way.
And maybe this is the moment for OKC that they had to answer if they're able to finish this game. Mostly all these champions have adversity at some point, whether they're down 1-0 in a series, down 2-1. As Murray airballs a 3, it's going to be OKC ball. Denver screaming that it was tipped. I don't know that it was. If it wasn't tipped, this game is just about over, and it comes down to who covers and who doesn't. But look, this might be the moment where you look back in a couple weeks and OKC's either in the finals or won the championship, and you think this was the moment. They were down 7 in Denver. They were down 2-1 in the series. If they lost there, they might have been eliminated and lost in the second round. But the fact that they answered got them over the hump. So maybe this is a turning point here for OKC. Not that they're home free in this series, still 2-2, and Jokic is on the other side. So it's a best of 3 if OKC can hang on. It's not like they're home free, but it's possible here. OKC answered the challenge, and they will be home free after this series. So you got to feel good here. Good win for OKC if they're able to hang on, which looks like they will. Again, it would be a brutal beat if you had Denver plus whatever, the 6.5, 7. You should have the 7 because the 7s were out there pretty much all day. So you hope if you're Denver better, you can at least hang within the number here. And this lands on 6.5, 7. I don't know if Denver's going to foul again. Let's just say they foul here, and it goes from a 5-point game to a 7-point game, and then Denver misses a shot. They probably would give up at that point. It would land on 7. So I would think if you have the 7, you should at least get a push here, I would think.
Speaking of bad beats and getting the right number, we haven't talked about last night yet when Jonathan Kuminga made a three-pointer with 5 seconds left to get Golden State the cover as a 5.5-point dog. Not just that one, but if you bet the under on the opening line of 200.5 for the total, it finished at 199, so you won by the hook. And then your best bet for that game, Will, the Warriors team total, also winning by the hook.
it was never in doubt. It really wasn't. People say, oh man, you won by half point, you got lucky. That was never, it was an easy winner the whole way. If you looked at like the updated total, and again, with unders, it's never easy because it could go to overtime. Things can happen. There's just, you can never relax when you have the under, but they were on pace at halftime. Their updated total was like 88.5, 89.5. So I never was really sweating the 97.5. And thankfully they didn't foul. And I'm sure, Golden State bettors, based on the number they had, were happy they didn't foul because there was still a good 4 or 5 seconds left. But I think Conley just kind of broke free and nobody felt like chasing him. So it landed on 5. And that's one where, again, if you got the best of the number, you should have, you could have laid 5 with Minnesota. You could have taken 5.5, 6 with Golden State. But yeah, there were certainly some hijinks with that. And I don't know if you saw this. I guess Draymond Green was mouthing to the Timberwolves guys, 5.5. The spread is 5.5. He fouled out of the game. While he's talking about the spread, I would like to see that confirmed.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you after. That was a very strange interaction, if that's indeed what he said.
That is real. It's like, how you chant like scoreboard, score, like why?
Right.
Like that's what I would have been yelling at him. I did want to get your thoughts on that though, because when he fouled out, it was a 4-point game and he fouled on a dunk. He could have conceded that dunk. I don't know if he could have fouled out anyways, and maybe it would have changed the outcome. But I just thought, instead of trying to make the defensive play on a call that's most likely going to be a judgment call, just stay back on that one. I don't know. What did you think of his decision there?
Yeah, completely agree. And look, I mean, he had 6 fouls and 2 points. That was a game they could have won. I thought they really carried him last night. He was dead weight, and I think that was their chance to steal a game. I think Minnesota rolls the next 2.
Yeah. Okay, well, we will get into more NBA. This game is about to end, and then we'll get into the Cavs-Pacers game after this break as well. You're listening to Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back into Live Bet Sunday. I'm Grace Remington with Will Hill in the home stretch now of our programming on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We've been tracking this Thunder Nuggets game from start to finish, and just moments ago, the Thunder had a 7-point lead, I believe. It's now a 3-point game with less than 2 seconds on the clock. Will, can you kind of recap the sequence we just saw here?
Yeah, so Denver got fouled. Gordon goes to the line with like 8 seconds left. Why OKC fouled, I don't know. They were screaming about the call. So Gordon makes the first. He intentionally misses the second, but I think he had a double lane violation. Again, it's hard with the sound off, which results in a jump ball. Jump ball's won by Denver. Murray banks in a long 3 to cut it to 3 with just a second or so left. Now look, OKC inbounds the ball. It's all they have to do. They're going to go to the line. So as long as they make one, and I'm not sure how many timeouts Denver has. Again, one of the obstacles of doing this show. If they don't have any timeouts, the game is over no matter what. And as long as OKC makes a free throw here, this game is over. But it doesn't matter in terms of the spread because the game was looking at landing around anywhere between 6, 7, 8. This closed anywhere between 6.5, 7. So looks like Denver, barring a miracle, as OKC does make the first free throw, is going to cover the game. But OKC is going to even the series and win the game. But a wild ending with some shenanigans in terms of the point spread here. But Denver deserved to cover. They were within the number here most of the day as OKC makes both. 92-87. Denver inbounds. Jokic just throws it the length of the court. And it is a 92-87 final here. OKC winning the game.
And so Denver does not. What is that? Is that 5 points? Denver does cover.
They covered.
Because I don't think there were any 5s, right? Was it ever?
No, it was 6.5, 7. So yeah. They covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked an under. I just cannot believe it went 179. That's absurd.
Crazy.
Okay. Well, we'll get game 5 in a couple days, and I don't even know. Look, okay, the line's already out there. So Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern is tip-off. OKC is a 10.5-point favorite as they go back home with a total of 219.5. So I don't even know if I can call. I would have called it an overcorrection if we're going off those previous 3 games, but at this point, I don't know. Maybe it's warranted. Want to give an update on the hockey game as well. We are still knotted up at 2 apiece as the Jets and Stars head into the second intermission of the game. The Stars a -130 favorite on the money line at this point. The Jets +105 and the live total at 6.5. So that'll be a fun one. We have another hockey game coming up later tonight. The Panthers, a -205 home favorite on the money line. Toronto is +168 on the money line on the road. This total set at 5.5, which feels low considering the total has gone over 6 goals in the first 3 games of this series, and Sergei Bobrovsky has not been playing his best. Maybe it's the wear and tear of all the extra postseason games in the last 3 seasons finally getting to him. But if you want to bet the over 5.5, that is priced at -120. And I'm going to take a look at the betting splits here, which you can find at vsin.com. The over 6, okay, so it's moved to 6 at Circa. It's holding 88% of the tickets, 98% of the handle. And then looking at these money line splits, Panthers posted at -190 at Circa Sportsbook. They are holding 59% of the tickets and 94% of the handle. So the respected money really likes the Panthers here tonight. And it looks like you can get a little cheaper of a price over there at Circa. Let's go back to the Diamond now, because we have quite a few games in action. Yankees, A's, that's where you said take the live over 16.5, Will. New York now leading 12-2.
I just thought we'd see some of the lesser relievers here in such a blowout. The possibility of a infielder or a position player, I should say, pitching. You're going to get the full complement of the bats with the home team losing here. So just thought maybe some garbage time runs could be scored in this hitter's haven of a ballpark.
No, I mean, I'm right there with you. And at one, I don't know the live weather report at this moment, but it was projected to have 13 to 15 miles an hour winds into left center field for the duration of the game. Something I want to point out, when you have 5-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, that adds an extra 18 feet to the baseball. So what I really need to see when we're live betting, I would love to have a map, and maybe this exists, but I need a map of fly balls and where they land. Because on these big weather days, I mean, I don't know, a gust of wind here, maybe it stops and a gust of wind picks up over there. We could have some good luck, bad luck. So that's what I would really like to know. But really great hitting conditions in Sacramento. Obviously, we have 14 runs combined there. End of the 7th for the Orioles and the Angels. Baltimore leading 7-2. Dodgers building their lead on the D-backs, 5-0 in the bottom of the 7th. Blue Jays taking a big lead on the Mariners, 9-1, top of the 8th now. And the Phillies and Guardians tipping off or throwing first pitch in about an hour, I believe, from now. 6:30 Eastern. Does that sound about right? Let's get back to our cap for that game in case anybody missed it earlier.
I like Philly here. I know it's a little bit expensive, but I think that Wheeler is, despite as good as he is, I still think he's underrated. And this Philly lineup, I think, is better than the Cleveland lineup. Ortiz has shown flashes. He's had some 7-8 strikeout games where you look like, all right, maybe he's turning the corner here. Cleveland is famous for developing these pitchers and getting the most out of their pitchers. But to me, it'd be Philly or nothing. Thought about a Cleveland team total under 2, but at 2.5, that's tough. That's a thin margin of error, especially when they're the home team. They're going to get the 9 at bats if they're losing. So I'm okay with the juice on Philly. I would look towards an under 2.5 in the first 3 too. And I don't know if you saw this, but I played the under 2.5 in Minnesota, San Francisco. Did you see this yesterday? What happened?
I don't know if I did.
It was 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. I'm in good shape. 1 out, 1 on. All right. As long as nobody hits a homer, I'm in good shape. Guess what? 2-run homer, 2-1, I lose. and nobody scores the rest of the game. It's a 2-1 final. So
what?
First 5 under, full 9 under, all of those would have been fine. The first 3 under was the only way not to go, and that's the route I chose. So sometimes it's the market you choose, the path you choose. It's the right handicap, I guess. I guess it wasn't because I lost, but I do think these first 3 unders are kind of a niche market that's undervalued, because when you get a good pitching matchup, first time through the lineup for the pitchers, it's so often 0-0, 1-0, even 1-1 wins. With a good pitching matchup, a lot of times you got to pay some extra juice, but this one, like minus 140 at DraftKings, I do like the under in the first 3 here with Wheeler and Ortiz.
Yeah, that first 3 market is interesting. I'm going to have to start tracking that. I guess the reason why I'm not as comfortable with the first 3 is because I do think, even though I just think you see pitchers kind of give up the one home run before they get settled in. Maybe they just kind of have a shaky start to the game. And then like a first 5 would go under. But it's like, for example, I've been asked about Yerfies and Nerfies before.
Yeah.
I'm always going to err on the side of a yes run, because, there's nerves to start the game. The pitcher is trying to get accustomed to a new mound. Maybe if he's on the road, it's a new environment sometimes, or just the adrenaline's a lot, and it's the top of the order. So sometimes you give up a run, and then you're cool coasting for the rest of the game. So I don't know. Those first 3s might be a little too risky for me, but I always like learning about a new angle. So I'll start tracking that now. But as for my play in this Phillies Guardians game, I like Wheeler to record a win at minus 105. You can get that on DraftKings. It's a way to back him without paying the minus 172 juice on the Phillies money line. But I mean, looking at his stats, he has a 3.35 ERA, but he's actually gotten unlucky. His expected ERA is 2.36. His expected FIP is 2.49. He's throwing a career high 33% strikeout rate and a career best 4.5% walk rate. Low barrel rate, low hard hit rate. Hard to find anything I dislike about him. Even the bad pitches, he has tapered those off and increased the usage on pitches that serve him better. So making adjustments in real time. I love Zach Wheeler. So taking him to record a win at minus 105. By the way, you can get best bets from all our cappers every day of the week over at vsin.com. And now for a limited time, we are slashing the price of our annual subscription. It is normally $240. Now you can get it for $199. And here's a bonus. If you sign up today, you can get 2 extra months for free. That's 14 months of VSiN Pro for less than 50 cents a day, but you got to use the promo code PRO. That's vsin.com/subscribe.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back into Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Grace Remington with Will Hill, recapping all of today's action across the sports world. We had been following Thunder Nuggets for pretty much the entire program today. The Thunder I want to say sneak away with it. It really does feel like they snuck away with a win. 92-87, the final. The Nuggets do cover all the numbers. And this one, a total of 179. So it went under the closing number of 228. Poor shooting from both sides in this one. But we do have a number for that Game 5. OKC is a 10.5 point home favorite. The total opened at 217.5. It's already been bet up to 220.5. Not much to see yet in these betting splits because it just was placed on the board. But we'll see those splits kind of start to be deciphered later on in the week. As for now, all of the money is on the over, which makes sense because we've seen that number move. But any early thoughts on these lines, Will?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the sentiment for OKC. The regular season stats are so overwhelming. There's the idea that this was their test. They answered it, and now they're home free, and they're just going to roll in the next 2 or 3 games, whatever it takes, and they're going to win this series. They're going to cruise to a victory. But I'd have a hard time laying 10.5. I know they won by a zillion in game 2 when they needed to, when their backs are up against the wall. But minus 550 for a series price and minus 10.5 here for game 5. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of respect for an OKC team where 3 of the first 4 games have been basically coin flip games. I know game 1, it took a miracle for Denver to win, but they were at least in position to steal it. Game 3, obviously, was overtime, and then today could have gone either way. So Jokic hasn't played great. Jokic hasn't shot great, and it's still 2-2 headed into 7. And OKC, like we talked about, even though they won, it's 2-2 heading into 5, obviously. Even though that Denver was able to or wasn't able to close this out, OKC still has plenty of concerns from my perspective in terms of finishing out these games, finding another scorer besides SGA. They get bogged down. If it's not SGA, it's not really anyone stepping up. So to me, the 10.5 is expensive. The minus 550 is expensive. I would only look towards Denver. I don't think OKC, I'd pick them to win the series, but I don't think that they're as big of a favorite as these numbers suggest. I would expect a couple more close games here. I think 3 of the 4 have been close. I would expect more close games going forward.
So you're right about it feeling disrespectful toward the Nuggets. And I remember I was on a show with Jonathan Von Tobel last week, and he did the math on what home court advantage is worth. And I believe I'm looking at his article now. It's a little bit much to read live on air, but if you want to read it, it's very good. It's over at vsin.com. He posted it 5 days ago, but I believe he came out to an average of a little over 4 points. That's what home court is worth. But that's according to the market. So I think that's what this big swing is here. Yet it feels a little bit hard to trust. So, yeah, I like your thought there that the early line does feel disrespectful. I'm curious to see where the total lands after we've seen pretty much hot and cold performances from these teams. But we do, before we get to that Tuesday night game, that one tips off at 9:30 Eastern time. We do have a game to get to tonight, game 4 between the Cavs and Pacers. Cleveland's still a 5.5 point favorite. The total sitting at 231. Do you have any plays in this game, Will?
I'll take the 5.5 with Indy. Again, I think this is a situation where the winner of this game is very likely to win the series. If Cleveland's able to get it 2-2 with 5 at home, with 7 at home, with their players returning, I think that they will advance. They're obviously, favored in the game and still favored in the series. It's been such a strange series, such a strange postseason with all of these road teams dominating 6-0 to date in this Eastern Conference semifinal round. I think we get a close game. I think Halliburton will play better. He only gave you 4 points on Friday. Indy was completely flummoxed by that zone that Cleveland threw at him, and just a dominant second quarter by Cleveland, and Indy couldn't really get back into it. So you'll get more out of him. And Garland, even though he returned on Friday, seemed to re-aggravate that turf toe late in the game. So just because these guys are back, they're still nicked up. They're still not 100%. And I'm not sure what version of Garland we get. Maybe you look at a player prop under with Garland, figuring once you re-aggravate that toe, and it's a concern going forward that maybe he has a subpar performance. So I think we get a close game. I think game 2 was obviously really good. Game 1 was good too. It was game 3 that got away from Indy here. So that'll be a good home crowd in Indy. It's a franchise that hasn't had a lot of big time success the last decade or two. They've got a chance here to win this game and possibly get to a conference finals. I think that crowd will be into it. Not that it helped them much in game 3, but I'll take the 5.5. That being said, the market likes these teams when they're desperate. Boston in game 3, Cleveland in game 3, even OKC today, and the market largely has been right. So I know I'm bucking that and taking the quote unquote less desperate team. But like I said, I think both teams are equally desperate, both motivational from a motivational standpoint. Both are on equal ground. Both need to win here. I will root for a close game here. I think Cleveland probably ultimately wins the game and evens the series, I would think, but I'm happy to take the 5.5. I know you're not a huge NBA bet or anything from a side total prop perspective that interests you.
I would lean the under here. Cleveland has been struggling from 3 in this series. They're shooting under 30% in each game, and the Pacers' three-point shooting has declined in each game from 53% in game 1 to 39% in game 2 to 30% in game 3. There's also obviously a growing familiarity between these teams that should lead to more defensive stops. You mentioned the injured players, they're not going to be full speed, but I also I mean, that helps with the no scoring, but I'd also like to think that their defense returns as well. And then Steve Makinen, I love reading his trends on VSiN.com. In one of his studies, he found that the number 220 has been key for NBA totals in the second round of the playoffs. On totals of 220.5 or higher in the last 6 seasons, the under has gone 64%. And when it is higher at 227 or above, the under has gone 15-3. And for the record, in these game 4s, the unders are 3-0. So far, that trend is holding true. Also want to give out a shout out to our colleague Zach Cohen for posting this prop over on our NBA site. He is backing Tyrese Halliburton over 17.5 points. In the first 2 games of this series, he's had at least 19 points. He only took 8 shots in game 3, going 2 for 8 from the floor, 0 for 1 from 3. But Cohen here expecting him to be more aggressive in game 4. This is an interesting record. The Pacers are 14-4 in the postseason when Halliburton takes at least 10 shots. Zach also points out that the Cavs are going to play Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland more, giving them more minutes. Halliburton should be able to get by both guys, and he should be able to set up some good step back threes when the Cleveland big men do switch of him. So because of all of that, the volume will be there. Zach Cohen likes his over 17.5. And for anyone else who's interested, his PRA right now set at 31, the over -105. And I think that's a good take because it's a high total, a competitive game. I always look for volume opportunities. This one makes a lot of sense to me. The opportunities for him to go over these numbers should be there. What do you think, Will?
Makes sense. Should be a lot of fun. Was that 8 o'clock Eastern start? So we still have a little time for that one, as it is. Boy, I think somebody's just taken the lead in the hockey game. According to my app here, we are 3-2 now. Dallas taking the lead. They're out to -475 favorites with about 16 minutes to go in the third period. The scoring had slowed down because it was 2-1, I think, after 1, and it was 2-2. The live total gotten all the way up to like 7.5, and then it quieted down here the last period or so, but we are back to some scoring here. It is 3-2 Dallas. Didn't see who scored. Not sure if you have it, but Winnipeg now trailing with about 15, 16 minutes to go.
I think of all the screens I have pulled up here, they are all lagging because I do not have that goal yet. Maybe someone sent a faulty push notification. That happens sometimes.
Nah, I just saw it.
By the way, oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm waiting for them to put the namer up. Rantanen's on the ice. Okay, well, anyways, Dallas takes a 3-2 lead, but they're still -135 on the money line.
Just hasn't
16
refreshed.
minutes left in regulation. Okay. Yeah, I know. That would make sense. We just spent a lot of time talking about the NBA, so wanted to make everyone aware that our partner ProfitX is offering the best odds for NBA betting all playoffs long. ProfitX, what is that? Well, it's a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in more than 40 states. You'll be able to make your sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against the sports books. Exchanges guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. So download ProfitX today with the code VSIN, that's VSIN, and earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. Again, that is the ProfitX app. Coming up next, we are wrapping the show with our final thoughts and best bets. This is Live Bet Sunday.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back into Live Bet Sunday as we send you home with our best bets for the evening. He's Will Hill. I'm Grace Remington. We've been tracking a lot of games throughout this show, and they're just about all wrapping up right now, although the Dallas Stars perhaps just scored a decisive goal here with about 16 minutes left in regulation. They're calling it a Mikko Rantanen shot, Petrovic on the rebound, but it's still It's still under official review. So if it stands, Dallas would go up 3-2 with 16 minutes left in the third period here in that game 4. Let's get to our best bets, shall we, Will? Our best bets are brought to you by GBank. Get the GBank Visa Signature Card today. Most credit cards treat sportsbooks and gaming transactions as cash advances. That's even when you put your own money on the card. However, GBank treats gaming transactions as purchases, so you're saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees on gaming transactions. Also, with GBank, you're earning 1% cash back rewards on all eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions and 2% cash back rewards on all eligible purchases. Apply now at vsin.com/GBank. That's vsin.com/GBank. All right, Will, what you got for tonight?
I'll go to tomorrow, game we haven't talked about. I'll go back to the well here. Golden State Warriors team total under 96.5. I've talked about it yesterday, talked about it before. Game 2, this team without Curry is just very offensively challenged. They got a big performance out of Butler. They got a late flurry from Kuminga, and Hill hit a couple threes late. But to me, they're very, very just almost impotent on offense. They just can't do a thing. Minnesota probably smells blood here with a chance to, it looks like they counted this goal here, 3-2 Dallas. Minnesota with a chance to smell blood, go up 3-1, go back home for game 5, and go back to the conference finals for the second year in a row. So I think that Golden State blew their opportunity to steal a game. They had a late lead, couldn't hold on. I think Minnesota wins. I don't love laying 5.5, so I will just go back to the team total under 96.5. And I'll go with the Pacers plus the 5.5. I don't know how healthy these guys that return for Cleveland are. We saw Garland limping around at the end of that game. Toe can be tricky. Pacers need the game just as much as Cleveland does, so I will go with Indy plus the 5.5. And I'll tail your pick. You know what? Wheeler minus 105, but I'll let you give the handicap. I like the Phillies, but I don't want to give out with the minus 175 money line. People want to pretty much get what they bet in terms of like a minus 105, minus 110 in that range. Minus 170 is a little expensive. So I like your minus 105 to win. Why do you like that? And is that your official play on this Sunday night baseball game?
Yeah, let's make that my official play. You're right. I know there's value on heavily juiced prices, but personally, if I'm giving a play out, I'll never give out something juicier than a minus 150. I just don't want to do that to people. So when I saw the Phillies at minus 171, I thought, yes, that makes a lot of sense, but we need to find a better angle here. So let's take Wheeler to record a win at minus 105. Reminder, to record a win, the pitcher just has to go 5 innings. So he's thrown 8 starts this year, has a 3.35 ERA, which is already decent, but he's actually gotten unlucky. His expected ERA is 2.36. The expected FIP is 2.49. So we should see some positive regression from him. He's throwing a career high 33% strikeout rate and a career best 4.5% walk rate. All his hard hit metrics are low. And, what I like about him, so in his arsenal, he throws pretty much 5 pitches. The 4-seamer is 42% of the time. And then he has 4 more pitches that are thrown anywhere from 10 to 13% each. The only bad pitch is his sinker, but he is already decreasing its usage. And taking its place, he's upping the usage on his splitter, which was his best pitch last year, and it's his best pitch this year. So I like that he's being kind of proactive here. A lot of the time, we talked about Tyler Anderson earlier, and how he has not adjusted his arsenal ever. And that's why he's such an easy fade. So let's take Zach Wheeler to record a win against the Guardians, minus 105. Update in the hockey game, your Conn Smythe favorite, Mikko Rantanen, just add some insurance. Actually, I don't know if we can call it insurance in hockey. But Stars up 4-2 now with about 15 minutes left in the third period, Will.
Yeah, so 4-2 total is sitting at 7.5 in terms of the live number. The over is the favorite, and 14-1 on the money line. If you feel a rally for the Jets, is 14-1 enough with the random nature of hockey? We saw them have a crazy comeback this time. Was it this time last week in Game 7 to advance? Is 14 enough? Is 14-1 enough for you?
I would say so. And this is. There's just so much puck variance in hockey. You hear coaches talk about it all the time. It's like you really can't. Jets almost. They had a looked like a grade A scoring chance there.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, 14-1. Sounds really nice. And although I wrote down these stats before this game started. Jets were outscored 17-5 in their road games in St. Louis, and then Connor Hellebuyck on the road saves less than 70% of shots on goal. Remember yesterday we had Rachel Dory on, and she was super passionate about fading Hellebuyck on the road. Given that, maybe the 14-1 isn't enough, but as a fan, I mean, I would love to see a comeback. Both teams, even in shots on goals, 21 each, and yet Stars have the win here. It kind of just seems like watching Hellebuyck sometimes, as soon as one goal is let in, his confidence just kind of fades in these road environments. But you never know. You never know. You mentioned those Monday NBA games, and I did want to touch on those just a smidge before we head out of here. Taking a look at the betting splits, we have two lower totals tomorrow. The Celtics and the Knicks. Boston, a 6.5-point road favorite, and it looks like Circa clients are all over them. 83% of the bets, 100% of the handle is on the C's to cover. Meanwhile, there's quite the discrepancy here on the total. The total is 209. The over is holding just 33% of the bets, but 66% of the handle, which should tell you the respected money likes the over here. In T-Wolves Warriors, lots of money on Minnesota here. So I know you're fading Golden State, their scoring prop, but the market would agree with you from a different angle. 75% of the bets, 95% of the handle is on the T-Wolves -5. As for the total set at 200, these tickets are split 50-50, and yet 81% of the handle is on the under. So that's good to know there. But I actually, you know what? I guess I will add a take I had on that Boston game. I've been watching these first half margins. First half, Boston to cover 3 points. So Boston has led by at least 9 points at halftime in 6 of their 7 meetings with the Knicks. The C's are second in the NBA in first half scoring margin on the road at plus 5.5 points. So Boston to cover the first half spread, I think, will be my move for that game. But any other thoughts on these two Monday games, Will?
No, it's just been such a strange postseason where home court doesn't matter. As we head into Sunday night, the road teams in this Eastern Conference second round are 6-0, so can't call it home court advantage anymore. It's just home court. You're just at home. I don't know where the advantage is. It feels like Boston has probably stabilized and is in good shape to win this series, and you can dismiss game 1 and game 2 as up. The shots didn't drop. They're the better team. Nothing to see here. I still wouldn't be in a hurry to lay the 6.5. I know the Knicks, look, they've got their issues defensively. They've had their issues all season beating good teams, and the Celtics certainly are a good team, but I would take it before I would lay it here in terms of the point spread. So hoping for a fun game. I hope Boston doesn't just blow them out the next 3 games and it's 4-2 and we move on. I do like the chaos aspect of the NBA playoffs. I made the point earlier in the week. It's almost like the NBA playoffs and the NCAA tournament switch bodies, because the NCAA tournament is always so fun and exciting and there's so many upsets.
Oh, you're right.
The NBA playoffs is always chalk. This year they flipped because the NCAA tournament was all 1 seeds. It was all blowouts and chalk. And this year the NBA is where you get the upsets and these crazy comebacks.
That's a great point. Also, wanted to point out before we sign off here, your Tony Gonsolin under 4.5 strikeouts? It was sweaty. It was sweaty, but it hit.
Got home. Got home. Yankees
Awesome.
live total's not going to get home, though. 12-2 in the bottom of the 9th, so the scoring is has just stopped there out there in Sacramento.
Jinxed it. It was a fun idea, though. You know what? It has been a fun 6 hours of live betting with you, Will, over the past 2 days here, and I'll see you again next week. But if you are just now tuning into VSiN, good for you, because Live Bet Sunday rolls on as we head over to Circa with Scott Seidenberg, and then Joe Sarala will take you home with Cashing Out later tonight. So get all of your sports betting and wagering talk right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Once again, he is Will Hill. I'm Grace Remington. Thank you so much for watching us on Live Bet Sunday, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Thank you for all that you do.
This is your before and after story. Prepare for an incredible career in nursing. At Southeastern College, experience expert hands-on training. Learn real-world skills in our professional lab and simulated settings. And train for opportunities as a practical nurse, registered nurse, or career advancement with our RN to BSN program. At Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.